Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's Jayce, and today I want to talk about what's going on in the current sneaker community, specifically with UAs and fakes, and why they are so rampant in the community at this moment in time. So before I get any further along, I do want to ask you to please smash that like button and subscribe to the channel. My name is Jayce, and I drop new videos every Thursday, keeping you in the loop about what's going on in the sneaker community. So without further ado, let's get this video going. So UA stands for unauthorized, which is a generally accepted term in the sneakerhead community as a pair of sneakers that is made in the same factory as the real pairs, whether it's from Nike, Adidas, whatever brand you name it. It is generally going to be either like a B grade sneaker, or it's going to be extra stock that they made with the materials they had left over from the official stock batch that Nike or whoever ordered. People throw the term UA around a lot, but it is definitely very rare to see those out in the open, especially because Nike has contracts with all these factories and they do inspect them quite often. So if they do get caught, they are definitely at risk of being sued, fined, and or having their contract canceled with Nike, which will definitely affect their business heavily. And then you have the fakes or the replica pairs, which are going to be made by individuals with connections to factories that basically reverse engineer a real pair of sneakers to try to make it as close as possible to the original pairs. And once in a while you will hear about these mythical 1-to-1 pairs, which are apparently identical to the real pairs and are under no circumstances visually distinctive from the real pairs themselves. So now that you know what I'm referring to, we can start talking about why it is so rampant in the community right now. For us to answer that, we have to first understand what grails are in the community. So grails are another term accepted in the sneaker community as reference to the Holy Grail, refers to sneakers that are rare and hard to attain. And I'm talking about sneakers like the Freddy Krueger samples, the Tiffany Dunk Lows, the Wu-Tang Dunks, Jordan 1 Chicago's from 1985, just to name a few. These are all expensive, rare, and you definitely will not come across these sneakers every day. So theoretically, if you could get your hands on these kind of sneakers, you could die happy, right? This is where the problem comes in now, which is that the sneakerhead community is getting so saturated with new people now that are realizing that there is an opportunity to make money by reselling these sneakers. You know, there's so much hype being generated on social media now about these sneakers that there is just a ton of new demand and that same old artificial supply created by Nike and other companies. So now we see this disparity between the amount of sneakers available and the amount of people that want them. So what are these people going to do? Well, they're going to find ways to get these sneakers for retail or less, because not everybody wants to pay that, 5x markup, that 10x markup, in some cases even like 50x markup. Now, in part due to that hype, you are now even seeing regular general release pairs on sneakers. No matter what shoe it is, it will almost always sell out no matter what. It rarely just sits on the shelf now. A good example would definitely be like Dunks or SB Dunks. Back in the day, they were pretty much kind of bricks, I guess you could call them now. Bricks are just sneakers that basically don't move and aren't really worth money. And I remember back in the day, you would see Dunks at the outlet all the time being sold for $80. And now you could see that same pair going for like $600-700. It's definitely pretty crazy, and that is where the whole UA and fake kind of comes into play. Now, this is really nothing new, honestly. Fakes and replicas have always been around for many different communities, such as bags, watches, shoes. It doesn't even have to be sneakers. There's plenty of other communities where fakes have always been made to undercut the original or the real producer of that product, because there are so many people that want the product but aren't willing to pay those prices for it. Or more often than not, it's a problem of accessibility. You can't just walk into buy a Chanel flap, or you can't just walk into an Hermes and buy a Birkin, for example. You always have a black market for fakes, and you will see this internationally in many different places, like in New York, Canal Street. In Hong Kong, you have Ladies Market, plenty of booming black markets for underground fakes and unauthorized high quality versions of these bags, sneakers, watches, whatever you name it. Now, the problem here is not inherently with the UAs or fakes. It's really what people are doing with them, this is creating a lot of distrust and hostility in the sneakerhead community, because all of a sudden you have tons of these people that were never into sneakers but found this opportunity to basically scam people and make tons of money off of it, because the accessibility to these high quality fakes now are so easy. You can do a quick internet search on Google and you can find tons of high quality fakes literally a few clicks away, and you could have it at your doorstep in a matter of weeks that you could definitely trick some people into thinking are real. And as a result, sneakers, which were kind of once a cultural icon, what was something that connected people with a like-minded hobby to come together and appreciate these items, are now all of a sudden turning into people that just don't trust other people because they're worried that they might get scammed, and me included. You know, when I buy sneakers now off other people, I definitely have to do my due diligence, erring on the side of caution, which, you know, is definitely unfortunate. So now I want to get into my thoughts about UAs, replicas, and fakes, and then I'm going to segue into talking about thoughts about retail / paying and resell. I'm going to be going over pros and cons of both. So as I said, the reason why these exist and are so blown out of proportion now more than ever is accessibility. You can easily search up individuals that have access to these factories overseas that can get you a super high quality version of whatever sneaker you're looking for at what you would consider like a retail or decent price. The second reason is obviously kind of more political. A lot of these people I'm seeing online now are definitely in support of UAs because it is kind of a big, you know, FU to Nike and all the other places that are obviously creating this artificial supply, generating all this marketing hype, and really just even a big FU to all of the big influencers that are rocking these sneakers, trying to get that clout and make everybody feel bad that can't have them because they aren't special or whatever. And that in turn kind of keeps generating this revolving machine of hype. The other big reason is that you can wear the crap out of them without feeling bad. And what I mean by that is, let's just say a pair of Chunky Dunkies. You have a real pair and a fake pair. The fake pair you pay retail maybe like $100, maybe $120 for a good fake pair. You go outside, you could beat the crap out of it, turn into beaters, you could wear them for dailies, and you probably won't feel that bad. But if you've ever paid resale for a pair of sneakers, you're definitely going to be a lot more careful with damaging those shoes because you do consider it an investment, which I will get into in a little bit. But you definitely don't have that same level of freedom that you do with sneakers that you didn't pay that much for. It's just like anything else, any other good. Like you buy an expensive car, like a Ferrari for example, you're not going to drive it around and beat the crap out of it like if you drive, I don't know, a Chevy Cruze or something. You know, you're not gonna treat it the same way. You're not gonna beat the crap out of it. If you do ding your Ferrari, you're gonna definitely feel really bad about it. And then obviously the downsides of having UAs, if you are wearing them around, just from what I've seen from people's experiences in public, if you do end up somewhere where sneakerheads hang out a lot, they will definitely see your sneakers and they will probably wonder if they're real or not. But honestly, from what I've seen, most people don't really give a crap about it, so you could really just wear whatever you want. And then biggest one for me, anything that's financially related, which is gonna be if you end up spending $120 on a fake pair of Chunky Dunkies, going back to my example, is you are basically paying $120 down the drain because you can never sell that back out unless you're of course doing the right thing and letting someone know like, hey, these are actually fake, but I'd be willing to let them go for like $50, you know, whatever. And that's fine, but most people that are gonna be buying in the secondary market are not looking for fakes, generally speaking. So UAs are never a good investment, and that's why you have all these people scamming them off as real, because they know the minute they say that they're fake or replicas, generally people will not buy them. So now we get to arguments for retail / resell sneakers. So the biggest one is obviously a lot of people are going to be looking at grails as status symbols. Just to give another example, is if you have a fake Rolex, it looks cool, maybe you're fooling people, but at the end of the day, you're really kind of just fooling yourself, because a lot of people don't understand this with watches, is that it's not about necessarily flexing. It's generally more of a status symbol of how far you've come in life. Just for me as a collector, started out maybe with like a Casio or something, and those are great watches for the price. And then eventually you get into like the luxury watches, and it's not necessarily a flex. It's just, at least not for everybody. Like for me personally, it's just for me to represent something that I've done, and I've gotten to a point in life where I can actually afford something like that. And the same can be said for certain sneakers. You know, if you're able to get a Union 1, you have a bit of an asset, you know? And which leads me to my second point, which is going to be the fact that retail pairs, especially all of the hot sneakers out in the market right now, they depreciate very well, and in many cases actually appreciate in value, which means that they are going up. This is definitely due to a couple of different points, which is going to be, like I said, the fact that they aren't readily available. And as much as a lot of people hated, or a lot of sneakers hated to see this, Bloomberg News called sneakers an asset class. So I wouldn't go as far as to say that it's an asset class, but I would definitely classify some sneakers as an asset if you know what to look for, which I will make a video on later on if this series does well. But I do want to get more into the financial side of things and help people understand more about personal finance and things of that nature. So let me know if you guys would actually like to see more of those type of videos. And then the third good point about buying retail/resell is that, let's say you pay $500 for a pair of Storm Blue Jordan 1s. When you buy them DS like that, they will most likely hold the value because a shoe like that most likely isn't going to get retroed. The other thing is, even if you do wear it, you can enjoy that sneaker. You can wear your investment, just like how people wear gold jewelry. They wear their chains, their rings, their watches, whatever. Even if you wear it and it becomes used in condition, it is still going to depreciate very well and still going to be able to get you back 80, maybe even 90% of your initial investment. Or if you got it for retail, like I said, you're still going to be up 3, 4, 5x your original investment of the retail price. So this is why sneakers are so lucrative, especially if you can get them for retail and you know what to look for, because obviously not every sneaker is worth money. Now the downsides for getting retail is obviously you kind of have to jump through a lot of hoops. Like I said, I alluded to this before, you do have to jump through a lot of hoops to try to get them for retail. You got to enter tons of raffles and all of that, and that's another video I do want to do for you guys, is to kind of go through my weekly or even monthly routine of how I ensure that I'm maximizing my chances of trying to manually cop certain sneakers that I want. So let me know if you guys want me to make that video as well. And then the other big downside obviously is if you do pay resell, even though it does hold its value pretty well, and for the most part, for most of these limited edition sneakers like Union 4s, Union 1s, those kind of special collab shoes usually don't get remade too often. Just look at the undefeated Air Max 97s. The original Militia Green that came out, that was 15 years ago, and it took them 15 years for them to re-release that. The downside of paying resell is that you have to come in at a really high cost basis. Really the biggest deterrent to people getting into the authentic sneaker game. That's pretty much gonna be my thoughts about the pros and cons for UA, replica, and retail sneakers. But the key takeaway here is that a lot of people complain that there are UAs, fakes, and replicas on the market. And I just wanna point out that they are gonna be here to stay as long as Nike and Adidas doesn't really address the fact that there is just too little supply for the amount of people that want these shoes, and the fact that they are making them really sought after by creating all this hype and having influencers on the internet make all of these impressionable kids and all of that want these sneakers is just going to further drive this machine that I said is a vicious cycle that really isn't going to end, because in the end it only helps them make more money. You're going to see replicas here for sale, and really the biggest dark side of this happening is that there are so many people looking to profit off of tricking others, and that is definitely becoming something that is happening more and more. I'm part of a lot of groups on Facebook, etc. in my area, and I see this happening all the time. You get flakers, you get people that are trying to push fakes, trying to peddle replicas, and it's really not cool. Honestly, it's really not cool. If you are going to buy sneakers off of people, do your due diligence and just make sure that you vet the person and you understand what a UA fake replica is if you are looking to get into them. Do your research, protect yourself. But anyways, the reason why I describe both sides is because I'm not trying to sway your opinion. I just want to have an open discussion about both sides. And I honestly just want to start a discussion and hear from you all too, because I've had a couple people ask me, oh, Jace, what do you think about UAs and fakes and replicas? Like, would you ever rock? And I'm going to save that answer for another video because I do plan on making this into a series. But anyways, like I said, would you ever get a replica sneaker or a UA? And what's your reason for getting it or not getting it? I would love to hear about that in the comments below. But anyways, that pretty much does it for this video. As usual, I'm gonna go blah 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 about my ending now, which is gonna be make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell notification. I drop new videos every Thursday to keep you in the loop about what's going on in the sneaker community. So it's been your boy Jace. Keep it laced here on this channel, and as always, support your local businesses, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.